Good morning, and the board of directors of Sentosa. We're here to share our customer experience investment plan. My name is Edward, this is Jimmy, this is Peter, and we want to tell you how Sentosa can leverage technology to be more than just a tactical tool that you use for your day-to-day operations. Instead, it can be a strategic touch point and a keystone in all of your future strategy in Sentosa's growth. We want to look at the quick timeline. Over the past 2 years, we released technology that are very customer-centric. And making the lives of Singaporeans and foreigners easier was the name of the game. Now the crossroads that we're presented with is how to continue improving the guest experience, and the answer is through not only technology, but through data specifically. So the key issue right now is that Sentosa has stagnated in the face of rising competition, specifically within the Singaporean consumer base. The internationals have grown okay, but this has stagnated. The island program performance, leveraging IT strategically and collecting and analyzing data have all fallen quite short, and we have our aligned strategies out there for you. But our vision is to ultimately create the amazing tailored experience that people deserve when they visit Sentosa, and this is how you can tap into growth.
So we've identified 3 key issues. First of all, being the underperformance, the Islander program performance. We see that there is a low revisit number. The average Singaporean revisits the island 1.8 times per year. The membership base is at 92,000, which is 1.7% of the population. And this combined with the 60% turnover rate for individuals has caused a challenge. And this is something that needs to be addressed right away. We propose that you improve the benefits and communicate this to potential members. Secondly, there is a challenge with determining how to leverage IT strategically. Currently, IT is used very operational, and there needs to be a decision on whether to embrace and extend the technology or to rip and replace it. This combined with difficult integration must mean that the solution must be able to integrate with the current system. We recommend enhancing the mobile app. Our last issue with collecting and analyzing data. Currently, there are no links between some of the data sources, so it is hard to truly understand customer behavior and what sort of attractions members are going to. There's no segmentation to differentiate between domestic and foreign, and there's poor data quality. Ultimately, we want to create actionable insight, and we believe that these solutions can help create the ultimate guest experience.
Now the first big step that we can take in order to make this the ultimate guest experience lies in the Islanders program. Of course, yesterday we were told that the goal is to double the Islanders program goal and cut the turnover in half. And we believe that we can do so with a few key strategies. So the admissions can stay intact. It's been successful in the past, and it's what people ultimately come for. But the next one is the discounts. There's a very low perceived and real value in the discounts with hotels, merchandise, and of course restaurants. And this is a shame because people are not getting any value out of it. So to improve the perceived value is to really try and market this and communicate this in a very integrated manner so that people are aware and people are aware that this is a key part of the package that they're not currently utilizing. And in terms of real value, there's an opportunity with a revamp of the Islander system to approach partners and tell them that there's an opportunity for them to come in and to be featured in this great new package, and there's a symbiotic relationship there. So this has both short and long-term implications with partnership that is very favorable for Sentosa. And upgrades. So the card currently has very limited functionality, if any at all. And we believe that by transitioning over to an RFID model for the Islanders card, we can really leverage the various touch points that are created, and this is a great step in the right direction for data and analytics. And of course, the quick queue. So this is our marquee addition into the new Island program, which separates this from being a small adjustment into a full-on revamp of the entire program. And this is a program that's designed after the very famous and successful Fast Pass program at Disney, which will save Singaporeans and travelers alike much time. So this is overall value created. Now we want to see how we use the quick queue, which is a marquee addition. So by downloading the mobile application, which already exists, new applicants can download quick queue, which ultimately is a program designed to save time at lines. They can find out when they can come to the attraction instead of standing in line all day, and by coming in the narrow window that they're given, they can either bypass the line or significantly cut it. It's important to note that the quick view program is only accessible on the application, whereas the rest of the benefits, like discounts and interest, can be accessed by the newly revamped RFA card we talked about. And this is to drive consumer behavior. You're not going to get people to use your new app unless you force them to, in a way, or a big gentle push, because it's very tough to change consumer behavior since people are attracted to routine. By giving such a marquee offering on an exclusive platform, we're really pushing consumers to do what we would like them to do. So there are three key pillars that we're looking at when we're revamping the Islander experience. We're looking at data, we're looking at loyalty, and of course we're looking at values. And data is really the marquee offering here. We're looking at higher average revenue per guest and a long-term strategy of catered and targeted consumer promotions, which is the goal. And loyalty, Singaporeans are highly loyal, and future initiatives will be valued very highly when people are attracted to them and when they're given an incentive to come back. And of course, the value of Singaporean time, where everyone has too little time on the weekends and on the evenings, will help them leverage Sentosa much, much better than they are right now.
Now that we've discussed a short-term solution, we're going to take a look at our next piece, enhancing the mobile app. This will be powered by something called JEP, a guest experience optimizer. So with this new app, there will be three new parts. A user can select their goal of the day, whether they want to go on an adventure, a scenic route, or something more family-friendly. Secondly, they'll be able to set their priority on whether perhaps they're interested in budget activities, quick queues, or short distances from one attraction to the next. This will be inputted into JEP, and what will come out will be, they will be able to see the results. It will recommend the next activity, top suggestions, as well as where this is located on the map to facilitate ease of commute.
So how does My Sentosa Plus, powered by JEP, works? As we talk about, it is the guest experience optimizer. It takes preferences of the guest through the My Sentosa app. And what it does next is also integrated to other data. Data from existing applications that will be embracing and extending to text, the CRM data, the system that puts data with the quick queues, as well as the system that talks about what kind of attractions are in Sentosa. And also, we will be implementing new infrastructure within Sentosa. One of the infrastructure will be Wi-Fi access throughout the Sentosa island. This will give our guests internet access in the sense that they choose the mobile app everywhere, instead of just the 9 Wi-Fi points or through data network. This will also give them real-time location data, so that we know where the guest is, and that help us to optimize the experience. What's more is that sensors will be installed in the attraction. This will help us to calculate queue times, because if people passing by will see the sensor will help to track how many people are still around and what is the rate of throughput, and we can calculate how much time is spent in the attraction. So integrating all this, JEP will give recommendation to our customer. Some sort of recommendation engine does kind of look like a workforce management system as well. And then the customer will have the option to say, I will accept this recommendation or give me something else. And that has feedback to JEP. And then JEP will over time learn about how the customer behave and give better and better recommendations. But what does it mean to the customer? How does it transform the experience? Well, with My Sentosa Plus powered by JEP, we foresee the customer will have an optimizer in which you have to be hugely reduced. And also, the navigation around Sentosa Island will be optimized too, in the sense that shortening walking distance will be shorter, or maybe things are closer to one another, something we can prioritize. And lastly, if they're price sensitive, the JEP system will be able to tell them, this is the things that we recommend you, and these are something that are not less expensive to your taste, so that the perception of things in Sentosa is so expensive will be reduced as well.
Now, on to our last piece. This is something we see as a long-term benefit for Sentosa today. With data collection and analytics, there will be 3 steps. First of all, data input collection. We need to develop access points where we can collect data. And as a result, we will, with business rules and data logic, we'll be able to clean, cleanse the data. Secondly, tools and technology will have to be acquired. We recommend Alteryx, which is an ETL program that will be linked to your systems to feed the data into Tableau. We believe that Tableau is a program that will create the capability for BI analytics. Once this is done, report development can start. Queries and dashboards can be created, and the result will be actionable decisions in real time. Ultimately, by doing so, you will be able to better understand the guests and their experience at Sentosa and identify future revenue opportunities.
From the implementation timeline perspective, in the next quarter, you'll be implementing the new island program in a phased approach, views, new discounts, so on and so forth. This is done so quickly because the target to double the membership is very close, so we want to do it as soon as possible. And at the same time, executive buy-in and communication being carried out about the ICE project so that we get people aligned together and we can work together on transforming the experience of the customer. An external vendor will be searched for, and they will be helping us to build a system. And once the contract with the external vendor is set, the infrastructure upgrade, the Wi-Fi, sensor, and hardware will begin. And at the same time, the development cycle will begin. There will be at least 2 development cycles, and each cycle will consist of 3 delivering experiences. And this methodology will help us to reduce the risk of the project itself. And at the end of the first cycle, some of the business benefits can be given to customers will be Wi-Fi access, and also the queue time push to the app. This will help us to facilitate change management because quick wins will help people to buy our solution. So by the end of the second cycle, Q3 will be expected to roll out our system.
Now, there's 3 pillars what we're looking at: the guest experience, mobile app, and data analytics. You'll be very familiar with the stat pool already. But in the short term, we're looking at quick queue enhancing the guest experience, while in the long term, a perfectly catered and guided custom experience will be what's driving it. Analytics will be a key part of Sentosa going forward, and we believe that's the key to growth, not just with the tourists, but with the local Singaporeans in the country. It's enhancing the guest experience for everybody involved. Now, for the past 40 years, Sentosa has been a phenomenally successful organization. And in the next 40, by leveraging data, you can take the next step to become not only a household name in Singapore, but a ubiquitous name worldwide. Thank you very much.
Can you go to your slide of Islander program, initial CI?
Sorry, which slide?
The Islander program, the new Islander program. The new Islander, the fourth one. Well, I see a lot of emphasis on the current customers visiting Sentosa, or 92,000 current Islander program partners. What about attracting the new customers for Islander program? We need to double in next 6 months, we need to double the base of Islander program. So I don't see that.
Yeah, of course. So the quick queue is the real perceived value that we want to attract the new consumers with, whereas discounts are to retain the old ones. Now, if you want to go back to the appendix and go to the marketing slide, we do have a plan to leverage the currently existing $12.6 million advertising promotion budget. So we'll find that for you right here. So by making an incremental way to boost the current advertising, we want to hop on the Islanders and give people a reason to come on board. So as we can see, lots of advertisements already exist, both out of home, TV, whatever communication channels you desire. So by paying a little bit more and putting the Islanders into these spots where they don't currently exist, we believe that we can raise awareness among the local Singaporean base for them to actually sign up and be incentivized to come over and sign up for the Islanders along with the new benefits.
I don't see a lot of programs to incentivize your partners, right? And how are you going to draw them in? Because your Islander program, all right, depends on what kind of value they're going to get, like discounts and other incentives. So you don't see the articulation of that aspect.
So currently, the temptation initially was to partner maybe the Island program with Play Pass, but exactly what you're saying. Then this leads us to actually have to incentivize partners even more. So currently what we're saying is that we want to drive people into Sentosa and just have the partners at the forefront. So we don't believe that there's a significant effort needed on partners to get them on board, because the more people attend and enter the gates of Sentosa, the more business they're ultimately being driven to. We're not asking for for any greater portion of the revenues. We're not asking for any sort of loyalty from the partners. We're just merely asking them to be part of our promotional program. So essentially, we're providing free advertising. So although it will require some communication, we don't anticipate that it will require a major expenditure in terms of both time and money. And with the new base of ClickQ, we also believe that you're reducing the amount of time spent in lines, and you're giving people free time while they wait for their ride to begin to go about and spread their business elsewhere. So this is ultimately driving revenue. So it's more of a communication effort rather than a pure expenditure.
Thank you. Just a question on the side.
So maybe I have two questions. One is, I've not seen you actually lay down quite a number of solutions, quite like some of this, with some push box around that. But I don't see that actually sort of articulating what could be the potential risk of some of these solutions, like how would you sort of manage them, right? The second part, I think, is to go back to the earlier question. I think you are really counting a lot on the marketing of the advertisement, right? If you're saying that today the advertisement is not really making a lot of impact, what confident evidence you have that with pumping certainly more money and with this value proposition that you bring forward, that people really fully understand and appreciate that, and they will come forward and sign up for it.
All right, so there's two questions. I'll take the first one in regards to this mitigation. So Jimmy has kindly brought us to be this dependency that we made up on digitalization. We identified 6 risks. One of them is actually what we identified earlier with regards to the partner. The partner definitely will have to be system. We're bringing something on board and say culture, maybe for money culture. Well, something that we foresee us to do as mitigation is to work with the partners, to collaborate with them, figure out how we can have a win-win situation. And then some of the other ones is employee resistance. This is standard change management process. Negative impact of guest experience. For example, foreigners, they have no idea about this program. They come in and see people just skipping the line. What's going on? So we want to make sure the guest experience is great. Not just guest experience with incentives of the to make sure foreigners and islanders can still get the same sort of experience. Some other risks there is a division among IT. Casey, this is your part. Within our team, there's people going for ribbon plays, people going for embrace or stand, communicating what we want to do with that, low adoption, and culture scope. These are the other risks that we're going to as well. So let's pass it to Ansel to talk about.
So in terms of marketing, so 92,000 for a base of 19 million per year is quite low. And we don't believe that the amount of advertising is necessarily the problem. Sure, the island program is promoted, but there's not a lot of talk on the features. And the key problem that we saw is that people basically see the island program as a getting it out free pass. And that's not an effective solution because the average rate of return for a year is about 1.7, 1.8. So people aren't returning that often to set those up. So we're trying to redirect the focus and tell consumers that the discounts and the quick queue is the key new features to the island program. And with this and with a targeted advertising campaign, we think that we can be successful.
Through hands. I think there's gentlemen in the middle first, but ladies first.
I can't see any financials. So exactly what's the cost of implementation and what are the benefits that come with it?
Sure. So for the second part of our implementation, I'm just going to run through each piece. The financial assumptions behind this is a revenue growth of 10% per year. This is quite conservative given that the annual compounded annual growth rate in the past 5 years has been 18%. So we've taken a more conservative approach. So we've estimated that increased revenue touch points can increase by 4 to 6%. What I mean by touch points is that more opportunities to work with customers to have revenue generating opportunities. 5% of this 4 to 6% will turn into additional revenue, which is around 0.0251%. This additionally will have upsell and cross-sell opportunities based on merchandise, and we've used a target weighted average cost of capital of 10% and an initial investment of $1.1 million. So in your base case, you can see that we've based it on the addition fee revenue. We can see that the conversion rate, the touch point leading conversion is 0.25%. You can see the increased throughput revenue, as well as 4% on the sales and merchandise revenue, which will translate into upsell and cross-sell increases. The project cost illustrated, mentioned previously, will give us a discounted net present value of $833,000 in the next over the next 5 years. Some of the other financial features I'd like to implicate in the base case is an ROI of 49%, discounted payback period of 3.3, and an IRR of 38%.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Now, before we begin, could you identify your names to the judges?
My name is Enzo.
My name is Jimmy.
My name is Peter, and we are the JEP Innovators.
Thank you. And your time starts now.
Great. Thank you very much. So we have to look at our primary goals right now. We're looking to make sure that there is a reduction in fear, and we have to make sure that there's a minimization of brand equity loss as a result of this crisis, and we have to make sure that there's minimal transmission through close monitoring. We'll take you through what we should do in a green situation.
In the green scenario, the victim is not positive. However, it is still important to cast high alert. First, there will be internal communication and training for staff to identify symptoms. Next, we will blitz the quick queue implementation using the ID card. We will give guests this card as a trial and a 10% discount as an incentive for them to give us their name and email information. Additionally, we will restrict the number of people and ungated attractions to minimize further risk. This is the green case, but if the scenario escalated to the victim being positive and has visited Sentosa, we will explore the yellow case.
The yellow case, all the precautionary steps will be ramped up. At the same time, we'll keep in touch with the Ministry of Health, in close contact, so that we understand who the person is and where it's visited and what time within Sentosa. Use the data collected from the Ministry of Health and also the data we have internally collected. Generates a list of people who will also be in the same place at the same time. We'll also identify where the victim has been close to birth. At these stages, we're very challenging because the data is not ready yet, but we'll do our best. We'll also further restrict the number of people at these attraction track events, yes. And last but not least, to escalate to the rest scenario if a human-to-human transmission case at on Sentosa Island is appeared.
Unfortunately, in a red case, we are looking at a partial shutdown of high-risk areas. And these areas are ones that are very foresty and ones with lots of birds around, because this is where the virus can really foster. We're also looking to ramp up this tracking that we've seen in the yellow case with guests being ID'd at dangerous points. And we're also looking to make sure that monitoring is an all-time high at an event. If an event was to fall on red, we would tentatively allow it to perhaps happen, but we have to be ready with mitigations in place and take the possibility that a cancellation at the last minute could be necessary. In a black case, when you're looking at rampant multiple transmissions, there's no doubt that a park closure is necessary. We have to deal with the PR and leverage an early closure as much as possible and learn lessons from closures and product recalls as much as we can to mitigate any danger.
After the appropriate amount of time deemed safe by the Ministry of Health, we must de-escalate. We will remove the free trial, inform staff and guests it is now safe, return the regular implementation plan of the quick queue, and last but not least, have a promotion for reopening. This is to welcome people back to the park, get the foot traffic back, and to ultimately reduce fear. We believe that the steps we've illustrated will help us achieve our goals outlined at the beginning of our presentation.
Thank you very much. Judges, questions?
What would you do with the card that you have given out, the 10% discount? If it's, resolved here. What would you do subsequently with the card?
Well, after this pandemic is over, we would eliminate this discount. They would have only the card during their time for that day, so we would collect it. Or we can also have the system deactivated, also if they keep it.
So do you have a plan as how you work with your partners to sort of manage this crisis?
So that kind of goes back to the discount aspect of our plan. And we do realize that working with the partners in an urgent situation might not be the best way to go. So Sentosa might have to absorb the costs on behalf of the partners if we are offering some discounts as an extraordinary measure. As soon as this is over, we can recollect and see how much was given out and perhaps compensate the consumers and the partners as a result.
You make a sense like the pandemic is over and then the public's enthusiastic about returning. They're not. There's going to be a lag. Even after the pandemic's over, you're you're gonna have to restart visitation. How are you gonna do that?
Yeah, that's a point that we did keep in consideration. After any blockage or closure, there has to be some momentum going. So we're going to have to spend some money and throw an event to not only bring people back, but to also reduce the climate of fear which is taking part in the park. If the park has been closed or affected, people will associate Sentosa with this disease, and we have to do as much as we can and spend whatever money we have to in order to get this memory out of their minds.
What,
I'm sorry.
no, I was just going to ask what kind of communication channels and plans you would think you would use.
We're looking at the Ministry of Health, of course, and if it escalates any further, and if we're looking at a black situation in closing the park, we do have to talk to the WHO as well to make sure everybody's informed. But if there are closures that have to happen midday or a more urgent circumstance, we are prepared to disseminate information for any use necessary through media channels, through leveraging the current investment that we already have, and through in-park channels, whether it's through PR announcement systems or through just employees being proactively asked to inform guests of what to do in the case of an emergency shutdown.
You talked about learning from product recalls and similar closures. What's a best practice that we can follow in this scenario?
I think some good examples you could look at is the Ford Pinto case or the Tylenol recall case. So this is a product case and not a closure, but we have to keep in mind that you cannot underestimate the harm to brand equity that can happen if you risk leaving the park open longer than it should. You know, granted, we're looking at about 50,000 consumers per day that will be stopped from coming to the park if we risk a full-scale shutdown, and about $1.345 million in revenue per day. But the cost of a brand equity harm is far greater, and we've seen that through Ford. And we've seen that Johnson & Johnson was able to avoid that in the Tylenol case when they did a quick recall.
What elements of the solution you presented to us previously do you want to reconsider in light of this?
I think it just tells us how urgent it is for us to implement something like quickly to collect customer data. Because without system like that, we cannot associate people who have visited a specific area and identify and connect them back to their identity.
How about the Q sensors that you propose? What is that?
As in the one that mentioned during time. Right. So some of the things that I've been thinking about is actually having the RFID will have whether it's a card or maybe an application to actually somehow interact with the sensors.